Welcome to Assembly, and I've been promising that I will take you to some interesting places at Stowe, and here we are up on the roof, and there is a particular reason why we're on the roof, and I'll tell you about that in a minute. Before I do, I've got some announcements. We'll start off with the Lambda Awards, some fantastic results. First up, we've got Henry Pearson, who got a grade 6 distinction. Then Juliana Zimele, who gets grade 8 distinction. Mia Dottori, grade 8 distinction. Izzy Hopkins, grade 8 distinction. Alexandra Aswani, a grade 7 with merit. Isabella Pratap with 7 and a merit. Dom Selvey, grade 8 distinction. Barnaby Pepiat, grade 8 distinction. Theo Finland, grade 8 with distinction. Lucy Bannister and Maria Sharapova both get grade 8 distinction. So really fantastic and a great achievement there. We've also been getting a constant stream of news of engagement with local communities, and so this week's Cheshire Awards go to the following. The whole of Stanhope, well done. They've given more than £200, at least £1 from each of them, to support the Buckingham Food Bank, and Reverend Mullins will take the food, or has taken the food, to the food bank, and it's been very much appreciated. In the fourth form in Stanhope, we've had Evie Brooks making scrubs for the NHS. Estella Taylor has been helping her neighbours, preparing meals and assisting them with services. Clara Capella has been volunteering in a shop next to her house. Anna Gaetchiana has been helping cleaning outside, picking up litter and recycling waste and plastic. And Lula Goldsmith has been spending 4 hours a week giving yoga instruction to local primary school children and adults as well. Meanwhile, in Littleton, Poppy Goman has been delivering prescription medicines to people who are self-isolating. Ria Vancouver Martin has been packing 200 Martin Baker goodie bags for NHS workers. And in Nugent, Mimi and Jemima Pearson G have been organising services, church services, and the music for those services in Buckingham. In Walpole, William King Eccles has raised more than £500 for the Royal British Legion. That was on VE Day last Friday. And over at Chatham, Henry Saunders Watson is helping at the food bank of St Peter's and St Andrew's Church in Corby. So fantastic to see so much volunteering and so much good work being done in the wider community, and all of you will get Cheshire Awards in due course. Keep giving me the good news, let me know what you're up to, and we'll give you a shout out after half term. Academic awards this week. First up, we have commendations. In business, commendations go to Jack Colebrook, Valeria Primack, Greta Burnell, Joshua Cowley and Darius Shirazi. In chemistry, we have commendations going to Kimi Chen, Wailin Wan, Jasmine Sakiyama, Yanran Li Zhu and Freddie Wildblood. In English, commendations to Archie Jacobs, Alice Bryant, Lillian Moon, Jemima Pearson G and Jemima Hammond. And in French, a commendation to Jacob Ford Langstaff. In geography, Evgenia Zen, Maisie Roberts and Barnaby Pepiat. German to Kimi Jen. History to Imogen Taylor, Jet West, Nell Osborne, India Bailey, Eleanor Simpson, Constance Sharp, Isabel Kay, Scarlett Waits, Tommy Cranmer, Tallulah Morris and Max Stevens. And Latin again to Isabella Pratap, Max James, Emily Wilson and Maddie Marriott. So really good to see so much hard work going on during the lockdown, and keep up the good work. Now, as I said, we've got a special reason for being up here on the roof, and I want to introduce our guest today. He's a current Stowe parent, an explorer, an adventurer, an entrepreneur, Justin Packshaw. So Justin, do you want to come over We'll maintain the 2-metre social
No
distancing.
Yep.
Now,
Thank
Justin, a very warm welcome. So
Thank
Justin
you.
has driven all the way up here, and in fact he scaled up the roof because he's an intrepid adventurer. Justin, tell us about your lockdown experience and how you've managed to survive the last 8 weeks.
I've loved it, if I'm honest. Lovely having the kids at home. I think you guys have done a fantastic job on virtual schooling. But I suppose I have some experience, having spent a lot of time in the four corners of the world, kind of in small tents and things. So funny enough, your assemblies have been very useful. I thought your head boy and head girl, their instructions were brilliant. And I sort of concur with all of that in that, you know, structure and routine. I think humour is important. I think, you know, understanding that there is a bigger picture, taking day by day rather than looking at that sort of whole aspect of the monotony of it.
So when you start getting that cabin fever and that urge to just break free, what do you do? How do you get rid of that sense of?
I'm a simple soul. I think physical exercise is fantastic. You know, if you can somehow burn something off, and luckily we've been allowed to keep doing that. And I think that helps. But I think you also have to slightly understand that there is a bigger picture. There is a reason why we have to do this, and kind of try and put the reins on that. And do other things, set other goals. I think it's really important to try and feel you've achieved something, whatever it might be. Obviously, you know, all the kids are my 2 children, Ludo included. They're working hard. I mean, you know, they've got quite busy days, and so
that's good to hear.
But I think, look, I think we've managed it really well. I think it's around very difficult situations. I feel that we're on top of it, really.
So, just to give a recap on your career, you've been to the Antarctic, you've been to the South Pole, you've been to the North Pole. You've climbed Everest. You seem to choose quite difficult modes of transport. You've ski jetted. You've been on horseback across Mongolia. What are the remaining challenges for someone like you?
Anthony, I love being curious. I think, you know, one of the things I've heard one of your assemblies way back when you were talking about, you know, following your dreams and all of that, and sort of, I think the beautiful thing about where we are now is you can kind of go and see these places. I mean, you don't have to be extra special. Or, as you know, I've got a couple of trips coming up, which is all around sustainability, which I'm really excited about, and I hope we can get the school behind it.
Do you want to talk about the one that's going off in October?
Yep, we are due with my partner in crime. We're due to head off back down to Antarctica, and we're going to try and do a full traverse from one side to the other, from Novo, which is sort of below South Africa, all the way to McMurdo on the other side, on the Ross Ice Field. And what's fun about this is we're going to go right through the middle. So the middle of Antarctica is a place called the Pole of Inaccessibility, which is the furthest point from any landmass. And very few people have been there. This route has been done before, but what we are doing is we're doing some really stellar research. So we're working with NASA, with the European Space Agency, with Stanford University, with Cambridge.
Beaten by the bell.
At
least that is a very evocative sound for every Stoic. It reminds you that this is not fake, this is real, and it's live. So back to Justin.
So yes, if we could have those blaring when we got to the Pole of Inaccessibility, that would be good.
When you get to the Pole of Inaccessibility, can I give you something to put on the
100%.
Head of the statue of Lenin?
Yes.
I want to put a Where's Wally cap on the statue of Lenin.
Done.
As a cheeky message from Stowe.
We will.
Would you do that?
100%.
Do you think that's permitted
yes,
under
I think,
the Antarctic
listen,
rules?
if we've slept there, I think we'll probably be all right.
Good.
And if there is any blame, I shall firmly put it on your desk.
Because there is a daily joke running in the common room that they send me off to
it somewhere.
strange, inaccessible
Good.
places.
Fantastic.
Although yesterday I was in the Queen Vic in EastEnders
Were you?
when Dirty Den and Ange were presiding over it. So I'm not quite sure what that message is. Back to the past rather than the future.
Anyway,
So
fantastic.
tell us about the science behind this.
So we're looking at the physiology. So people don't really do 80 days. This is going to take us 80 days.
Yeah.
Which is a sort of huge amount of time actually to go and work quite hard. And obviously Antarctica's pristine, and so it's a fantastic bedrock to really look at some of that sort of the physiology aspects of what happens to you, the psychology as well. And then from the space agencies, I mean, the next frontier is space. I mean, we are not far away, the Bezoses and Elon Musk and what Richard Branson are doing. So they're starting to look at what does that actually look like for Joe, you know, the average person who might potentially go into space. So what happens around radiation? So we'll be having these radiation monitors with us, and then gravity. And so all of it together combines in looking at taking advantage of a really sort of interesting petri dish that Jamie and I will be.
Yeah.
And hopefully we're working with Hewlett-Packard. This information will be in real time. So we will be dissecting it and analysing it as we do the trip, which is fantastic,
really
which is
interesting.
exciting.
So how can we as a school follow and support this? Because I think it'd be really interesting, because this will be one of the first, probably the first expedition to go off doing something innovative and exciting after lockdown. I think everybody will be thinking new horizons, new vistas. Let's engage. What can we do?
Well, I think we're just looking at it now. We're going to have a really kind of, hopefully very interactive educational platform that we can work through. But I would love to do something which is kind of driven through the school, obviously Lula being here, which adds value from the aspect of hopefully an inspiring story, and two, a story about us integrating with the agencies that we're working on. It's a collaborative effort, and everyone wants this to be something which can be rolled out to everyone.
Yeah. Good.
So at any level, really,
Okay,
but
good. Okay, well,
the support will be hugely appreciated.
Well, as you know, we supported Henry Worsley when
yeah.
he was doing his expeditions.
Yeah.
We particularly got engaged with the Shackleton trip, which was an amazing expedition, and we were discussing the link going back to the original Shackleton. And then most recently Ben Saunders. So I think it's about time we supported another
Antarctica.
expedition.
It seems to come back like a bad penny. But all, listen, inspiring stories, all of them. I mean, the Shackleton, I mean, Henry's story is amazing. His great-grandfather, Frank Worsley, is a hero of mine. And that is, you know, it was a phenomenal time then. And we forget, Anthony, that it's only just over 100 years ago that no one had been to the North or South Pole. Or, I mean, we didn't go to Everest till 53.
Yeah.
So it's very relevant for all of us, really.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, so it's a good yarn, and hopefully one that people would like to get behind.
And tell us about the next one, 2022.
So 2022, again, around sustainability, we're trying to kite surf across the Atlantic, which has never been done. I'm doing it with a friend of mine called Charlie Pitcher, who's an extraordinary man. And we're building a hydrofoil for the two of us. And it's all going to be built out of sustainable recycled plastic. So the whole story is using modern technology to do something around the aspects of the materials that we use, but everything is going to be recycled and using solar energy, et cetera, et cetera. So again, it's around the sustainability story and really showcasing cutting edge innovation around old school kind of getting stuck in and going and doing something unusual.
Have you contacted Richard Branson about this? Because of course he's
I have to contact Richard. In fact,
very keen kite surfer.
He's a very good kite surfer.
Yeah, well, he has a record, doesn't he?
Yeah, the channel.
Yeah.
And there was a time when his young son, who's a mate of mine, was going to be joining us.
Yeah. Okay, so
Richard. Yes, no, Richard is keen that we go into the British Virgin Islands and when we finish.
Excellent, good.
So, but we'd love to fly the Stowe flag on that one as well.
That would be good. So we've got 2 trips to look forward to.
Yeah. And we'll need some help. We'll need some brain power on this one because it's quite complex.
Good,
So
good. Well, we actually to get our science department.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Would be excellent. Good. Just before we go, I want to talk about compasses. Here we are up on the roof, and from this vantage point you can see 5 counties. If you look to the north, you can see as far as Silverstone. If you go to the east, you can see that majestic form of the Snow Dome in Milton Keynes. If you go south, follow the route through the Corinthian Arch, go 63 miles south, and you get to Buckingham Palace. And then following the circumference round, you go west, and you can just about make out the next door country house, which is Claydon. But 5 counties. And Justin, you have to use a compass. You have to navigate through some really inhospitable terrain. What's your North Star? What keeps you going?
Good question. I think I've always been fascinated with trying to be a bit better and learning. Not that I'm very good at anything really, but always aspiring to try and hunt excellence down, which I guess is a message you would push out to your charges. And I've always sort of done that, actually. I've always tried to. I'm quite curious by nature, and so I think turning my hand at something and trying to be quite good at it.
Yeah, but I think keeping that sense of curiosity, that sense of adventure, that there's always another horizon,
definitely. There
another
is.
adventure.
And I think that's a fantastic message to push on to anyone.
Good.
We keep going.
Well, good luck in October.
Thank you so much.
We'll be hearing a lot
Thank
more
you for having me up
from
here.
Justin.
Yeah.
And he's now going to go down the way he came up. But we're not going to film it because health and safety tests haven't been enforced yet. So you'll just have to imagine Justin going down the north front on a rope. Thanks very much for listening, and see you next time.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.